It's Shark Week! Oh, nobody cares about Shark Week? Honestly, I don't care about Shark Week either. But I'm gonna make a shark lure in a desperate attempt to get a bunch of views because it's Shark Week. This is the picture I'll be using to make this bait. It's just at 4.5 inches long, so not a huge bait, but this is gonna be a swim bait. I think a 3-piece, 1, 2, 3 on the tail. Probably have a joint like right here and right up in here. I was thinking about doing something crazy, like a hammerhead shark or one of those sharks that have like a weird wheel mouth. I think they're extinct now. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about at all, but I just went with a great white shark for my first shark. This is just a standard, you know, what you think of when you think of a shark. Probably the trickiest thing about this bait is going to be the fins. Securing them to the body well, you know, making them so they don't just crack. Probably need to make them out of some sort of plastic or metal. Should be quite interesting. I'm going to use poplar for this bait. Poplar is a great wood for swim baits because it has a lot of floating power, but it also does not take that much lead to get it to sink. It's a happy medium. And with swim baits, that's really what you're looking for. I decided I think I'm going to have the top fin and the tail fin be made out of wood, and then these bottom fins will be made out of aluminum. That way I don't have any metals on the top kind of weighing the top down. But I needed to know that before I cut it out on the bandsaw here, because I have to cut it out with these fins then, and then I'll carve them down to shape. So there is the silhouette of a shark minus the bottom fins. Now I need to draw out a top profile and cut that out. Okay, that's just a quick top profile. I'm gonna go cut that out, and I didn't really need to be accurate here. You do have to be accurate when you got the knife and you're actually carving it out, but this is just to remove the bulk of the material. So it's a super simple shape. I'm going to refine it a little better on the disc sander. Yip yip! Are you sleeping? Now we need to cut this top fin down to size and this little fin on the back too. trying to get the tail fin carved down to shape and maintain that center line. On sharks, this part's pretty fat and there's actually a spine that comes off the side on their tail, so I gotta leave material there, and then I gotta thin the tail out, like taper it down to where it's thin on the top and kind of fat still down here. So it's pretty much all carved out now, roughly. Looks like a shark, don't it? Now I'm gonna sand it a little bit. Maybe do some high speed and look really goofy. It's still just a little bit too square looking from this profile. Just trying to bring the edges down more. So now I'm going to start cutting the fins out of a piece of aluminum. This will be nice too, making these out of aluminum, because I can bend them whatever shape I want them to be. Like if I want the shark side fins to kind of angle down a little bit, just bend them that way. So now I gotta So now I gotta file all of these fins down and make them look nice and clean. There are all of the fins shaped out and ready to go. So I marked out and I'm just starting to cut some slots to fit these fins into. So I got all of the slots carved that are going to accept the fins into them. Now before I go any further, I'm going to sand every bit of this bait smooth and I think cut the joints after that. Might be wrong about that, but I'm going to sand this thing. This is 320 grit. Just remembered there's one last little detail I need to actually carve into that blank. So that's a great white. And back here it has this little ridge on its tail fin. It's just like comes out to a point. I need to carve that into this bait. It ends about halfway through the tail fin. Okay, back to sanding. So I've drawn out the lines where I'm going to cut the joints on this shark, and that is where I'm going to be cutting them. 3-piece bait. It's going to have nice curved joints like that, and I'm actually going to, this is going to be another slot joint bait, so the screw eyes will go into slots and I'll pin them in that way. I'm going to have to be careful cutting this. Let's hope I don't screw it up. So that was close. I just about screwed that up bad, but I'm gonna be able to make that joint even. It's not the perfect circle, like I'll probably be able to get this one to be like a perfect curve. It kind of came to a point, but that'll still work. I'll be able to clean that up and that'll work. There, I was able to cut that in just one pass straight through it. Now I'm gonna clean up these joints. those two spots are where I'm gonna drill a couple of lead holes. I'm gonna go do that right now. For how I want to use this bait, I'm thinking I'm gonna put enough lead in it to where it sinks at a pretty good pace, pretty moderate. A moderate sink rate is what I'm trying to say. So this is a 3/8 inch bit, and it'll go down like 3/16 inch deep, probably a 1/4 inch deep actually. Where's my support thingy? So those are the two lead holes. I'm feeling pretty confident about this bait right now. Usually you would want to seal the wood and then put the lead in so you can test how well it sinks and stuff without any water seeping into the wood. But I kind of want to just put the lead in it right now. I think it'll work great. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. It's a shark joke. I was just about to go to the grocery store. I almost forgot to turn this camera on before I poured this lead. You guys would have missed out on some sweet lead pouring action. Okay, I'm gonna let this cool off, and then I'm gonna cover it with some 5-minute epoxy and glass microspheres. I get this stuff off of eBay. No specific seller, just whoever's selling it. It's all been the same to me. You could just use really fine sawdust, or, you know, not stuff like this, but like the dust that comes off a bandsaw, maybe a table saw. Just gotta let that dry, and I'll be back tonight for some late night lure making. So now I need to cut some slots in this bait. That just marked equal distances from each side. There's the slot for the tailpiece. Okay, I got this bait all put together. I think what I need to do next, I've sanded this thing so much already. I'm gonna give it one more sanding so it's very smooth, and then before I install the rest of the fins, I'm gonna seal the wood. So that was the shark with the fins just stuck in the slots. Now I gotta actually glue them in. But before I do that, I almost forgot, and I actually sealed the wood before I did this on accident. But that's okay. I'm gonna carve those gills on both sides, and that's the last detail I'm gonna carve into this bait. And I didn't draw these gills perfectly even, but that's all right. I'm still going to stick to the lines, and that just helps make it look natural. I wasn't going to do it, but I just went for it. And now I'm carving teeth into this shark. into this carp. What did I just say? This isn't a carp. I think that because I sealed the wood, this is a little bit easier to carve. Everything's kind of staying in place better. I'm gonna glue each fin in and then put some excess around the edges and then prop it up, let it dry, glue another one in, repeat. I think that way the glue along the edges, it'll make it look like the body transitions into the fin smoothly, because that's the way shark fins look. So that's what I'm going for here. Got the rest of the fins installed. Now I just need to glue in the screw eyes. Just gonna use super glue, cover the threads in it, and screw it in. Oh, there's the teeth, by the way. They came out pretty good, or they churned out pretty good. I think they'll look even better after I put the paint on them and they're really white. I think that'll look good. This bait's gonna get some dips in the old polyurethane, probably like two dips. Then we're gonna paint a great white shark. Never done that before. I've got some pictures up of great white sharks. It looks like this paint job's gonna be very simple. The top is just gray and the bottom's white. There's a fine line that distinguishes the gray from the white, and it's uneven and jaggedy. But I might do some pink around the mouth, maybe some darker, maybe some gray in the mouth, and then the teeth white to separate the inside of the mouth from the teeth. Looks like this is gonna be easy though. I'm gonna start with white over the whole bait. So now that just needs to dry completely, and I think what I'm going to do for the gray on the top is brush all of it by hand with a paintbrush. That way I have complete control over the line on the side, and I can make it come down and go back up and then come back down on the fin and, you know, follow the pattern. So I've got some gray in here and I thinned it out quite a bit. I'll be able to get the details onto this shark nicely, I think, that way. I'm having to put about 3 layers of gray on this bait where it has good coverage. But I think that's just because I got it watered down so much. I probably didn't need to do that. Oh well. Felt like I just put lipstick on a shark. I don't know if it's even possible to capture this on camera, but I'm going to be painting these tiny teeth now. So last step for the paint job on this shark is going to be giving it its black eyes. I'm thinking about just doing exactly what I did for the chipmunk, just mixing some 5-minute epoxy with some black dye in it and just globbing it into the little eye socket I made for it. It's probably what's going to work best. This is actually a soft plastic lure dye, like when you heat up soft plastics and stir in the color. This is what that is, but I find it works just fine for this application too. I finally went out and got another one. No more having to deal with a rotisserie motor that constantly shuts off on me. These are supposed to be for barbecues and grills, and they rotate your big piece of meat on the skewer and cook it slowly, but I use it for rotating lures. Hopefully this new one just slides right in. Oh, I gotta unscrew that. One sec. This one feels a little bit more Chinese, if you know what I mean. But it was more expensive. It's the exact same brand and kind of model, but better be better. It costs more. It's silent. That's cool. Looks like it's a little faster turning too, which I want. What are you doing? Get down. Time to clear coat. For clear coat, I'll be using this stuff. It's called BSI 30, and just a little bit of denatured alcohol to thin the mixture. I'm going to start applying the epoxy to the piece that will be the most difficult to apply the epoxy to. So I think that's the middle piece, because it has two slots that I can't get epoxy in, so I want it to be thin while I do that piece. If I was to wait, the epoxy would be thicker and therefore more difficult to apply to the bait or apply to that piece. There it is. Should be pretty interesting to fish with tomorrow. It's the next morning, and I just finished putting the shark lure together. There it is. Got to figure out what pole I'm going to bring. I'm going to tie it on and go fishing. So I decided to start the day out at what's becoming pretty much my favorite fishing spot around here. It's just below an old dam on a relatively small river, but I seem to always catch fish when I come here. Let's hope that does not change today. Seems to work good, the action. There was something. That is a decent smallmouth. He almost got hooked in the gills. Not bad. I think it's official. Smallmouth likes sharks. Let's get this guy back. Whew. He soaked me. The day was looking a little bleak for about 2 hours there, but I'm very happy with that catch. That was a big smallmouth for this river. I don't know exactly how big, I didn't weigh it or anything, but whew, I'm happy. You guys think I can make it across that? I'm gonna try. It's not that bad. Just a couple deep parts. I haven't been over to this side of the river all year. The river's been too high. I think the fishing gods are showing me a sign. Maybe I should cast right there really quick. It might mean something else, you know. Who knows? Let's get to my spot. Oh! I saw that. I almost caught another smallmouth. Not too bad. Only caught one fish, but it was decent. I'm happy with that. It was on a shark lure, so not too bad. I wish I caught something at this spot here. Usually it's pretty productive, but it's alright. If you guys have any other ideas on different baits I could make, insects, rodents, even fish, I'm trying to make kind of outside the box sort of lures. So let me know in the comments below. On to the next bait.